Hey XYZ fam! Alright guys, so we are back to you. With you.
We're here with another sit down video for you. You know, I think that's why people prefer TikTok nowadays, because this has been so easy, kind of just pressing record and upload and not having to think about edit. It's something that we're trying on since we're recording on our phone now. Yeah. And it's been chef's kiss.
Yeah, we actually think we can be consistent with our weekly uploads if we do more of this. So let us know if you like this kind of content, because it's way easier to produce.
For sure. So in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about prison. Yeah? No?
And how to break out of prison.
Boom! You see when I edit them things here.
Yeah. But not really. That's not the point. The point is 5 conversations that will really set you free.
Yeah.
You know, 5 things that tend to hold back a lot of relationships, and not necessarily intimate relationships, but even interpersonal relationships. We just want to talk about these 5 things, because we feel like there are things that people take for granted, but we really need to talk about them because they just open up the world to you. Because now, instead of having up people and people having you up, you know, things can flow a lot more seamless.
Yeah, so it's one of our little bit more serious videos that we talk about life and that we can learn together. So if you're interested in this kind of content, come along with us. Tum. What happens intro because we're not editing that video. So what happens when 2 high school sweethearts girl can get married in a new city? They start a YouTube channel, of course. I'm Xaundre. And I'm Zara.
I'm Xaundre.
Yeah.
Hey Zara.
Anyways, what's the first conversation?
Alright, so the first one is, and this is in terms of intimate relationships.
With your spouse, definitely.
You want to talk about your love language. How do you receive love and how do you show love? For example, I'm sure we've done many videos.
Yeah, we talk about love languages all the time, to do a love language test. But one of the things I've been learning in this season and kind of embracing is that as you get older, your languages change. As you experience more things, they shift. And that's okay. And that's why we'll always have to be learning about each other and growing and developing, because the person who you were, like the person who I was at 16, I'm not that person now at 26. That's 10 years ago.
I mean, it would be sad to know the person who I liked at 16 is the same person who I'm with at 26, because I would like to think that I have grown. And it's kind of, you know, unreasonable to expect that I should grow and you shouldn't, or that you should grow and I shouldn't. So over time, we're going to grow and we're going to evolve.
We're going to evolve, right? Yeah. So love languages can change. And for those of you who've never heard about love languages, it's from Gary Chapman's book.
It's called The
5 Love Languages.
Pretty straightforward.
Gifts.
So gift giving, words of affirmation, quality time,
touch,
acts of service, and physical touch.
Yeah.
So any of those, and I mean, for most people it's like one very prominent one, then one kind of little less prominent, then 2 of them kind of okay, and then one that you really just don't care about.
For sure.
So for me, I couldn't hate gifts anymore.
Yeah, no, do not buy Xaundre a gift. Don't buy my gift. It's just not going.
It's just a bad idea.
It's just a bad idea. He just doesn't value it as much.
But a hug?
Yeah. We've also learned a little bit about apology languages, and I think we could put them together. But understanding love languages, it has benefited us as our relationship, but has benefited our friendships as well. So this is not just exclusive to your intimate relationships.
That's true.
Because, for example, we have friends that we know that it will mean the world to them if we go hang out with them versus bringing them a gift. That is just different.
Yeah.
In your family, it will also help you. So you kind of understanding how people receive love and how people give love. It will help you to understand different people.
For sure. All right, number 2, you're up.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't have them written down. Oops, he just jumped.
All right, boundaries. So number 2 is talking about personal boundaries.
Yeah.
You want to establish those.
What are personal boundaries? Xaundre, you are the one who read the boundaries book. So well, I read it too, but
she always says that we both read the books when one person reads the book.
No, I've read the book though. This one I
actually read it?
Yeah, I read this one.
So there are 2 guys, Henry Cloud and Thomas Townsend, or something like that. They wrote a book called Boundaries.
Is this video boring you?
No way, because look at my job asleep. Guys, I worked last night. You don't want to smell me right now.
You don't smell bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah, so basically, what was I
Henry,
talking about again?
You're talking about personal boundaries, and so personal boundaries are just limits that you have based on what you can deal with, based on
And there's a need for you to set boundaries, and boundaries aren't necessarily walls, they're more like fences. Fences, because fences allow things to pass through, and fences have gates, so you make a decision about what you want to let into your space and what you won't want to let into your space, but it makes these demarcations very clear, so that way you don't have people trampling on your grass without even realizing that they're trampling on your grass. If somebody steps over the fence and starts to trample your grass, you have reason to bring them to court because the boundary was there, right? So basically the idea is that in your personal life, you want to make sure that you communicate clearly your expectations of people. Yes. And you communicate when people have trampled on your boundary. You don't leave it for it to stack. Because when it starts to stack is when you start getting miserable and complaining about everything, and then everything is now a problem because nobody even understands what to not do.
We should have had our little mics.
Yeah, we should have.
Yeah,
next time.
So those are personal boundaries.
Yeah. And so for example, let's give an example.
Okay, so for example, I have a boundary where I like when people... Alright, 1 second.
I really do believe that yang bikes
should be illegal.
I genuinely do, because the fact that they make noise does not contribute to the actual functionality. Like, you can just put on a silencer on the muffler and it works just as well, just 10 times less annoying. Anyway, I'm sorry, that was a rant. Boundaries. So for example, that's a boundary for me. Like, if I were supposed to have a friend, and he rides a yang bike,
triggers you.
It triggers me. I'm going to let him know that, look, bro, you see, if you come into my yard, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
You're not riding up to my yard in this yang thing because it triggers me. And that's a personal. My expectation is that you will respect my space. So that's an example.
And that's your expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I don't really like phone calls. So my friends know that they should text me, and if they should call, they should message me and say, hey Z, can you take a call right now? And I think the thing with phone calls is that I'm always doing so much that when I take a phone call, it takes me away and I have to stop doing this. And sometimes I can have a better conversation with you over a longer period of time through text or whatever. And if it's a phone call that's going to take me maybe more than 15, 20 minutes, I want to be able to schedule that in. So don't just randomly pop up and call me. Text me first. So that's kind of like a boundary that I set.
And that's interesting, and that's why understanding people who you're interacting with and having open conversation is so important, because I would prefer to be on the phone with you for 20 minutes while I drive to work. And I genuinely enjoy that conversation, as opposed to you texting me throughout the course of the day when I'm trying to see patients, in between patients, doing whatever. It's more distracting for me, text, and I get more annoyed when I see 50 texts in my phone as opposed to having conversations.
But then the difference with you is that so many people don't have access to you,
which I am. So
Xaundre doesn't do social media, as you guys know, and I kind of take on all the comments. I take on most of the DMs unless they're specifically sent to him, then he reads them. I take on my personal brand, then I take on my personal phone. So because I'm dealing with that I deal with a volume of people every day, which I love, but I get to do that through text, and it's easy. I can talk to 10 people at once. But when one person texts me, I still have some special people who I talk to on the phone, mark you. But I like when it is scheduled. I like when you give me a heads up that you're calling so that I can plan for it and stuff like that. And that's just a personal boundary that I have. All
right, so those are examples of personal boundaries. All right, so the third one, actually, we can segue from this one into is actually professional boundaries.
For sure. And I think this one is very important, because you can give and take for personal boundaries, because people are close to you, or your friends, your spouse. Like, even we have boundaries in our marriage. We have some things that will trigger you, like don't make your phone dead, because I've always told the story that when my dad died, he went missing, and it's a big trigger for me that if Xaundre is on the phone and if Xaundre is on the road and his phone should go dead, the first instinct is that something is wrong. So he knows that he should and if his phone is dead, him try to get it charged as quickly as possible to send me a text message that he's okay.
Yeah.
So give and take those personal boundaries, but professional boundaries, first of all, we're all underpaid most of us. You are overworked and underpaid, okay? And because of that, do not allow the people them who are not paying you to trample on your boundaries. I've been trying to tell my husband, but he does not. He doesn't get it.
I'm learning. I'm a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, you know?
What do professional boundaries look like?
They vary. They vary considerably. Especially depending on the space that you're in, the field that you work in, and what the expectations are. So for example, for me, when I'm working at the hospital, my boundaries are a lot more lax. I take calls right up until however late in the night, because most times it's life or death. It's actual critical stuff. At the health center, really not that really serious. Like there are barely any emergencies. Occasionally somebody will call you to follow up a lab that you sent off for somebody who was, you referred them to hospital or something. But generally speaking, they're not that much, right? So for me, like, work time is work time, but outside of work time, it's not work time, and I won't be doing work outside of work time when it comes on to the non-critical stuff, working in health centers and so on. Obviously at the hospital, as I say, it's a little different. That said, I don't think that most people's professional boundaries should be as lax as mine are, and I don't think that mine will forever remain lax either. Because as I start to build out and do less hospital work at that level, at least, then my boundaries will continue to get tighter and tighter.
So for me, I think sometimes we're trapped in a very toxic work environment, a work environment that tells you that you should work and over deliver all the time so that people can see your potential. But what ends up happening is that a lot of us, we work and we don't see any progress. You get a tap on your back. Big corporations, they're all, as I said, big corporations are always in the green, but their employees can't get a profit. They can't get a raise and stuff like that. So one of the boundaries that I set before when I was one of the professional boundaries I set was that I'm gonna do the work that is in line with my job description. And if it is not in line with my job description, it has to be something that I'm asked extra to do, and I have to see in the long run how it will affect my life. And I know that's a thing where there's this conversation about how Gen Z approaches the workforce versus how Gen X, the previous generation. The millennials and Gen Zs, they approach the workforce a little bit differently. Millennials are kind of coming out of the overwork toxicity as well. But it's more the thing that I'm going to do things in line with my job description because you're not paying me any more than that. And if I need extra work, I need to get overtime. And I think standing up for that, I think it will help you to value your time as important. One of the boundaries that I set for myself, because I work for myself, so one of the boundaries I set for myself is that work closes at 5 o'clock. That's it.
Really?
No, unless I say yes.
No, it's true.
So,
like, Zara will generally close off work at 5 o'clock, but that has not been the case since trying to launch this store. For the past month, that has not been the case.
I went to bed at 1 a.m. today.
To be fair, I wasn't even home.
Yeah. So so I have set a boundary to say that after 5, I'm not accepting any client calls.
Yeah.
When I'm working on my stuff, that's different because I work for myself, so that's a little bit different. And I can set my boundaries based on where I'm climbing and based on the space I'm in.
And it's okay for them to be flexible because like in a period like this, it's a grinding phase, and it's okay with them being flexible. But you need to be clear on what they are, because the issue comes up, as I always say, disappointments come about when expectations are not met.
Yeah.
So when you think that you're supposed to be finishing work at 5 but you're still at work at 8, then that's when you start to get miserable. But if you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to be working until 8 tonight.
It's just a late
day. So it's really a matter of making them fair. But why is it so important though, in terms of these boundary setting things? Because they really do affect our mental health.
They do. It frees you.
They really, really do. And then let's take that a step further. God expects us to take care of ourselves. Like, he takes care of us, but honestly, there's a lot that we should do. And when I see people who are overworked and stressed out and just in a terrible like mental space, it starts to affect your physical body as well. The temple that we are given responsibility over. So yes, I know we kind of praise toxic work culture, and I am, you know, I'm
You're trapped in the
preaching.
system. You're trapped in the system.
I'm trapped in the system currently. Don't plan to be in it for forever. It's a means to an end. But the point is, I'm probably preaching to myself because I'm trying to learn this as well. But we're bringing you on the journey with us.
Right.
And it's a lesson to learn, honestly, guys, because if you continue working the same way that you're working now, what will your quality of life be like in 20 years? That's the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And will God be pleased that we put so much into our work that it took away from our health and our ability to do ministry and our ability to spend time with Him? Because the easiest thing to shave off is worship time.
It's, for sure.
It's sad, but it tends to happen.
I wanted to say those on that. Yes, we're trapped in the system, and some of us are, you know, like you're more trapped than I am. But you're the future. You're a future consultant. You're a future supervisor. You're watching this. You're a young person. You're the future. So when we start programming our minds, we can shift the culture. So yes, maybe in the next 2-3 years, maybe 5 years, but the people who are above you, they are retiring. You know, they're leaving. Some of them are dying. It's just the reality. You are the next step up. So are you going to shift your mindset so that, because like my goal is I want to be a CEO that runs a company where people love to work, that has a culture that people want to give me the best value, because that is just where my mindset is. And that's very important to me, that I want to pour into anybody who works for me so that they feel their best self.
When you think about how Jesus was when he was on earth, right?
Yeah.
Jesus didn't even used to have to ask people to like spend more time with him or spend more time working on the things that they needed to be working on. You know, he would say, come follow me. But then after that, everybody just wanted to be there. People wanted to work with him. And I think that there was something inviting about how Jesus lived and how he worked. And that's something that we need to learn, especially as we climb, you know, the professional ladder. All right.
Exactly.
Let's go. Next one.
Lifestyle design.
This is a conversation that must be had.
Must be had. You have to have it with the people, especially those around you. People who don't matter, you don't have to have lifestyle design conversations with them. But why do we need to have conversations with those who matter? And who are these people who matter?
Well, for example, your spouse. Like, it can't be that you guys are chasing two different rabbits.
Yeah.
And this is something that we had to come to understand from pre-engagement counseling days.
Yeah.
Like, I, for example, want to be a missionary, right? I don't know if I've told you guys this story already. I'm pretty sure I have.
We can't tell them in this one, but...
We can't tell you the full story.
Yeah.
But a synopsis of it is that I want to be a missionary. Zara thought the idea of it was absolutely absurd at the time when we were dating. And I made my expectations clear, she made hers clear, and we came to a middle ground that if I should ever become a missionary, I can't stay away from the family for more than 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And then that was an expectation that we went into our engagement period with, and that's something that we spoke about what our life should look like in the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 70 years, because we're living until we're dead, we're living until we're dead, right? But these are conversations that we had to have. Now, sometimes we meet people who, the husband and the wife, they're chasing two different rabbits. Like, wife wants to climb a corporate ladder, and
husband wants to go into the woods and live in a cabin off.
Yeah, and then there's no one person now has to surrender everything that they want so that the other person can live their dream.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not reasonable unless you guys have spoken about this and you've come to some conclusion that this is what is best based on your mutual interest.
Exactly. So lifestyle design is good, and lifestyle design essentially just means the design that you have for your life, how you want to live it. Yeah. And it's good to discuss with your spouse, but it's also good to discuss with your parents, for people who are like younger like us, because our parents may have a different vision of what they want our lives to look like. A lot of it could be because of lack of exposure, because they just don't know any better. And what they know is, like, for example, I know that we like to say parents love doctor, lawyer, accountant, and engineer, and anything outside of that, teacher, nurse, and you know, those ones that they know. And anything outside of that, you're wasting your time. But the truth is, sometimes you just need to have a conversation with them about like what you have learned, introducing them to these new areas, new ways of making money. You know, when I decided I was going to leave like my very comfortable job, and I was explaining to my mommy what this new job would look like, I actually went and showed her what the figures look like and showed her what I could make in this and what I could make in that. And you know, it might not have been a comfortable thing at the moment, but you know, if I could do something that could 3 times what I was doing here, then it would make more sense. And then even though it was an area that she never really understood, she learned it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, give your parents a little credit about what they can digest and how far they can stretch. You know, they want the best for you, and they're going to push you to what they know.
But why is it even important though that parents are okay with that? Because for example, one of the reasons I love my parents so much is they're incredibly supportive. Like
almost too supportive.
Like the amount of things that my parents will support me to do is kind of crazy to me. Like sometimes it's not even.
Wait.
No way. And the other day, Zara and I were here trying to bake cake and something, and then we look at each other and we're just like, you know, this not safe. Because the amount of time we almost burned down the house.
You.
Probably me.
No, but Xaundre, you remember the time when you wanted to build the whole solar, the biodigester?
I once built a biodigester that produced biogas.
No, Xaundre,
using
all these days, he always has these ideas, and his parents in father, we can't go hardware to buy the stuff. One time, you remember the one time you cooked chicken in the ground?
I did. I made like an oven in the ground and cooked that chicken in there. Chicken did come out raw still, so I still have put it in a regular oven. But you know, just being supportive. But why is this important? Because especially as young people, we have to experiment, because that's how we're going to find our niche in the workplace, and that's how we're going to find the things that excite us and make living worth it. You know, and it really helps when you have supportive parents.
Yeah, and I mean, family. And if you don't have supportive parents, still move on. At least they'll understand why you've made a decision. Because not every parent will be supportive. Not everybody will be able to reason on the level that you are able to reason.
Yeah.
Not everybody is open to even opening up their mind to reach the new heights that you have opened your mind to. And you now have to understand that that is on them and it is not on you. So that's kind of like a boundary that you have to set, to say, okay, well, but because you had a conversation about lifestyle design, to say, oh, I don't care about this is what I care about, this is what means much to me, so this is how we're going to progress forward. It really, really helps even you, because now you've understood that you've made the explanation, they don't support it, but at least you would have told your piece. I know you can move on, and it's hard separating yourself from those you care about. And as I said, it doesn't have to be parents, it can be your friends, but now you know that you did what you needed to do, and they can understand why you've made the decision that you did.
All right, number 5, values and morals.
Yeah.
Why do we need to talk about this? When I went to university, the guys on my floor knew, like, that guy down there, so
is that Christian?
In 1201. Yeah, he was a Christian, but I got to him with no foolishness. And like, they would actively protect me. Initially, they used to laugh at me.
Yeah.
Eventually, they'd actively protect me. Like, all of them would be gathered around a phone watching something, and be like, hey, what? And they'd be like, no, you don't want to see this. You know? But if you don't make that expectation clear, that listen, these are the things I stand for, these are the things I don't stand for, then people will come to you with whatever they feel comfortable coming to you with, which sometimes may not be things that you want to engage in.
Yeah, for sure. And overall, you'll be invited to stuff, and you'll even end up being uncomfortable in your own home, in your own space, if you don't make it clear what you stand for. People come, like, for example, nobody will come here and bring pork because we don't eat pork.
Yeah. So,
you know, and we have friends who eat pork, but they know that if they're coming here, they don't bring it.
Yeah.
It's just like just something. So making those things clear about the things that you stand for. You know, like like I'll have friends who have events on Saturday, and them just know something now come.
Yeah.
Nobody or I would have said, Zara, this is keeping about a Sabbath, so you know you can't make it, but you know still kind of make you know that it's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also look at things like that are probably not as polarizing as, say, Sabbath or pork. You know, things that you'd assume are more universal. but sometimes aren't.
Like what?
So for example, this idea of me being a married man, and by virtue of being a married man, I don't want to be having no conversation about no other woman out the road.
No cheating.
No cheating and know how you hide behind whoever and go where. No, I don't really have friends who are doing that kind of stuff and telling me, at least if they're doing it, they're not telling me. Thank Jesus for that. Because why? They know my values and morals.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that if I was in that space, or in fact, I have patients who put it to me all the while, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
You know, like they're saying things like, you can't be serious, you just have one wife, you have a wife, but she's your only woman, you know, things like that. And I'm like, yes, and I stand by that.
Tell them, baby.
So,
one wife, period.
Sorry, make me start blush. I don't know what I say again. But yeah, just establishing that. Or I've even had females talk to me and I'm just like, yeah, I'm happily married and I'm good over here. So
good over here.
Let's just cut this right here. But we can be friends. You know about that?
Be friends. Anybody I put word to you can't be friends.
Okay.
I don't believe in that. Men and women can't be friends. A joke.
She's not serious. I mean, she couldn't be because are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I have a lot of male friends. Xaundre has female friends.
Yeah. Anyway, the point I was making is, but because you've now made very clear what you stand for and what you don't, then they're less likely to come to you with that. Even if they do, you have grounds on which to say, look, I'm not up for that. But make it ever make it go wrong one time.
Yeah, don't.
How do you correct that?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's not impossible. It's hard.
But it's hard.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, you know what?
Any parting words? Because I gotta go and trim and stuff before Sabbath come down.
No parting words. I just wanted to say that these are conversations that will really free you and set you on a place in life where you can sleep in peace, you can be at peace, and that peace of mind. And we love giving practical steps because we know we talk about the peace that passes all understanding and letting go and let God. But these are some things that you can do on your end with the help of God, of course.
Conversations are very important to have, but sometimes they're hard to have.
Yeah.
And I just think about the fact that we're talking about these things, and there are people who are just like, I really should go talk to my boss about them working me out,
or talk to my spouse,
or I really should go talk to my friend about this. I'm always coming to me with talking about people's business, but I don't really want to hear people's business, but I don't want to make him feel bad. And so I just want to give a word of encouragement that it's okay to be reluctant to have these conversations, because hard conversations are hard for a reason. They require emotional maturity, and they require that you'll be okay with ruffling a few feathers, but doing it from a place of care, compassion, and love, knowing that you want what's best for the relationship, and it's just not gonna be best if both people are skirting around the bushes.
Amen.
Amen.
And you get disappointed, as we said before, when expectations aren't met. So make your expectations clear, because if you don't make them clear, then there's no way for people to know.
I'm happy that the woman says that, because sometimes they think it, sometimes they think it, and they think they say it, but they really mean read them mind.
No, husband must learn how to read woman mind, wife mind, and I stand by that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you next time on Adventures of XYZ. Bye guys.
We really hope that didn't record.
Babe.